Enchanted Relationships is a video series with relationship experts and husband and wife team Chip and Jan Chipman. In each episode, Chip and Jan will be answering common relationship questions that come up for singles and couples. In this episode, they discuss dealing with relationship problems, part 2.
When we're talking to people, the more they build up that strength in themselves and that calmness and that peace, they're able to see in their own situation what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And so if there's behaviors like that don't really hurt anybody, like people's habits of how they keep house or whatever like that, but everybody has to look in themselves and know whether in that situation they feel like safe and respected. So in a way, the best we can do is help people really see from the best state of mind they can, and they will know what kind of behavior won't get fixed, or what kind of or if they want to be around to wait for that behavior to be fixed, so that's where it's really important for people to really not give like overall advice that fits for everybody, like some does, but there's certain things that people just have to realize in their own life what works for them. So
yeah, I really believe that you can learn to step back from just about anything, and one of the things that taught me that was when we did work with women who actually had experienced violence. And it was, we had to be so careful to point to the fact that we understand that had happened and we understand that they have to take care of each other. But it doesn't mean that the thoughts about that going forward have to stay with them forever, right? And what we saw, what really taught me something about that was how many of those women found some peace within themselves. They were removed from the situation by then. They found some peace from within themselves. And then they handled that situation in their lives with so much more insight and firmness and understanding. It really blew my mind, But that's the extreme, you know what I mean? But again, we had to be really careful just to respect the fact that they've been through some terrible things. But I still saw them, many of them, learning to more and more let go of what had happened, not to put up with it, but just to let go of it and have that peace of mind for themselves and see that they aren't the sum total of that experience. There's something way more powerful than that, But going back to just ordinary relationships, I think it is possible to, maybe not in the moment. I mean, let's be really clear about that. I mean, I know that I could say something stupid and hurt Jan's feelings, and vice versa. We're just human beings. We have days like that. But I also know that we don't have to hang on to that. That we can learn to just go back to that solid feeling inside and reconnect from there. So in the one sense of your question, I think it is possible to what I would say is not ignore it, but you can learn to see that behavior that's troubling you with understanding, right? And understanding is a very powerful thing because it allows you to, again, see the psychological innocence of that behavior. Now, that doesn't mean the behavior itself is hurtful or irritating or whatever it is. But in seeing that person is just lost in their thinking, is lost in their worldview at that moment, or they wouldn't be doing that, it relieves you of the feeling of taking that hurt personally. You see that it's psychological innocence and they're lost, or they wouldn't be saying that, or they've got some habit, or they wouldn't be saying that. So it relieves you of that feeling of having to continually react to it. Maybe not at first, we're all human. But again, there's always kind of a home base that you get to with that understanding that everybody truly is psychologically innocent. You know? And once you're in that solid feeling again, I just know that you're much more prepared to really deal with what has to be dealt with in that calm, clear way. You know?
And we've seen many instances in ourselves and in thousands of people that we worked with in different settings where the other person's behavior changed for the better when the person who was, you know, struggling with how that other person was acting or treating them, when someone calms down, then the other person somehow picks up on it in almost every instance and their behavior changes. We've seen it with parents and kids, you know, kids that were just acting out and the kids settle down when the parents settle down. We've seen it in marriages. We see it in the workplace. It's amazing. People that would come in and just say, oh, my boss, you know, is just horrible and I just don't know what to do. And then they find something for themselves and their boss would turn into the dream boss, you know, and we still hear stories like that, like all the time. It is amazing because again, like everybody in the world wants the same thing. And we always think it's just us, you know, and that everybody else is trying to get to us. But every single human being in the whole world wants the same thing.
You know, on a very practical level, what understanding gives you and seeing psychological instance gives you is just a break in the mutual habit that we have with each other. You know, like you say this, I react that way. I react that way. Now you say that, and then we're down the rabbit hole together, right? And it gives the ability to just break that. Like that's what happened with us. Jan stopped going down the rabbit hole with me, and it left me confused. You know, when I couldn't get her to respond the way we had for years.
In a good way.
No, well, it didn't feel good at the moment. I was just like,
right?
oh, you know, and that confusion then turned to curiosity because I could see that Jan wasn't going there anymore. And it wasn't like a stubbornness. It was just, she was just living in a different place. And so one of the beautiful things about being able to see the innocence of that behavior is once you don't take it personally, then you don't go in the back and forth and it doesn't get worse and worse together, you know. And I know what that feels like. I really do. And I'm really grateful that we very seldom go down the rabbit hole together now. So that's the true benefit of that for sure.
And if you'd like to hear more from Chip and Jan and meet them in person, visit enchanted-relationships.com/love to register for their new Enchanted Relationships program.